Here we presents the top 5 BestCpu for gaming. Starting at number 5, AMD Ryzen 9 5950X. Now, for the last entry on the list, we have the monster CPU, that is the Ryzen 9 5950X. In short, the Ryzen 9 5950X offers all of the benefits that the Ryzen 9 5900X does, all the while taking the core and thread count to another level. Like its more modestly priced counterpart, it is based on the Zen 3 architecture that allows it to maintain better power efficiency than the competition. It's compatible with earlier AM4 chipsets, and it supports the PSI 4.0 interface. Priced at $800, it's the most expensive Ryzen CPU released to date, excluding the high-end Threadripper models, but it offers limited improvements compared to the Ryzen 9 5900X when it comes to gaming, and sometimes even when it comes to CPU-intensive professional software. That said, the Ryzen 9 5950X is truly a product aimed at enthusiasts and those who need the absolute best performance they can get and are willing to pay good money for it. So, unless you're building a workstation or you simply have cash to burn, this probably isn't your ideal CPU for gaming. For more information and price, check out the product links in description. At number 4, Intel Core i9 to 10900K. As we move up the price-performance ladder, we get to enthusiast-grade solutions that can make Core i7 and Ryzen 7 models seem diminutive in comparison. First up, we have the Intel Core i9 to 10900K, the most powerful CPU in Intel's current desktop lineup. With 10 cores and a total of 20 threads, combined with clock speeds that can go as high as 5.3 GHz with the help of Intel's Turbo Boost Max 3.0 technology, the i9 to 10900K is nothing to scoff at. It packs more than enough processing power to squeeze maximum performance out of even the most powerful GPUs currently on the market. However, as great as it may be, the i9 to 10900K still doesn't support the PSI 4.0 interface, and it's an even bigger issue here than with the cheaper Comet Lake model since it will appeal mainly to professionals, or at least those who intend on using their PC for both gaming and work. Ultimately, the Intel Core i9 to 10900K is a great CPU, but like the cheaper Comet Lake models that we've already taken a look at, it really does offer very dubious value at the moment, due to the fact that Ryzen is both more future-proof and doesn't lag behind in terms of performance as much, while the new Rocket Lake CPUs are only a few months away. It's worth noting that a version without integrated graphics, the Intel Core i9 to 10900KF, is also available, so you might want to keep that one in mind if you can catch it at a lower price. Halfway of my listed number 3, Intel Core i7 to 10700K. The first CPU we have lined up for this category is another 10th generation Intel model, the Intel Core i7 to 10700K, and it is one of the most appealing high-end models that Intel has released to date. The Intel Core i7 to 10700K is capable of hitting staggering clock speeds as high as 5.1 GHz, and it remains remarkably stable even when pushed that far. Of course, you'd have to invest in a proper cooler that can keep it from melting down when it hits those speeds, as it doesn't come with a cooler included. Moreover, like its i5 counterpart, the i7 to 10700K doesn't support PSI 4.0, which is a bit of a bigger deal with a pricier CPU like this one. As mentioned above, it's not that big of a deal when it comes to gaming at the moment, but if you do any sort of memory-intensive work and might consider getting a PSI 4.0 SSD now or further down the line, then it's definitely something to keep in mind. As such, while the i7 to 10700K is definitely an impressive CPU that would be at home in any high-end gaming PC as well as many workstations, it is currently overshadowed by AMD's latest addition to their high-end lineup, which you can see below. For more information and price, check out the product links in description. Coming in at number 2, Intel Core i5 to 10600K. First up in this category, we have Intel's formidable mid-range solution that marked Team Blue's long overdue return to form. Like the i3 to 10100, the Intel Core i5 to 10600K belongs to the 10th generation Comet Lake CPUs that finally caught up with Ryzen when it comes to core and thread counts, making them much more appealing than the earlier generations of Intel Core CPUs that were sorely lacking in that department when compared to the competition. However, some extra raw performance doesn't necessarily mean that a CPU offers good value. Sure enough, one of the main issues with the Comet Lake lineup is that they don't support the PCI 4.0 interface. While PCI 4.0 is far from necessary for gaming right now, there are PCI 4.0 SSDs on the market already, so the lack of this feature does make future-proofing a bit of a dubious issue here. On top of that, like all unlocked Intel CPUs, the i5 to 10600K doesn't come with a cooler included in the box. This isn't as big of a downside since you'd likely want to go with a higher quality aftermarket cooler anyway, but since AMD has raised their prices and is shipping its Ryzen 5000 series either without coolers or with subpar ones, having a slight edge in that department really could have made Intel more appealing value-wise. In any case, the Intel Core i5 to 10600K is a solid all-around CPU for gaming, but it's not a great pick at the moment now that AMD has largely caught up in terms of gaming performance and considering that the new Rocket Lake Intel CPUs will be launching in a few months. And number 1. Intel Core i3 to 10100. Our first entry is a modest but nonetheless solid solution coming from Intel. While the Intel Core i3 to 10100 may be one of the cheapest, lowest-ranking CPUs in Intel's 10th generation Core lineup, it is more than worth considering for those who are on a tight budget, as it definitely delivers good value for the money. With 4 cores and 8 threads, the i3 to 10100 is a definite step up from its predecessor, the i3 to 9100, which only had 4 cores and no hyperthreading. This is no small deal in this day and age, where multi-threaded performance is becoming more and more important for gaming, and it's especially important if you want to keep future-proofing in mind. Sadly, the i3 to 10100 doesn't have an unlocked multiplier, so it's not really an overclocking CPU, though you're unlikely to care about that if you're on a budget anyway. Other than that, it's also not the most future-proof solution, as quad cores are slowly being driven obsolete by ever-increasing core and thread counts. Overall, there's not much to say about the Intel Core i3 to 10100, other than that it is a great budget pick for those who can't afford to spend more than roughly $100 on a CPU. It will go well with a budget GPU, but if you're aiming at any of the more powerful mid-range solutions, you may want to go with a more powerful CPU, too. I have included these product link in the description. You can check out this link for more information and latest price. Thank you for watching this video. Please hit the like button, share with your friends, and be sure to subscribe.